Hello everyone. In this session, we are going to talk about computation of rate of return on systematic investment plan, which is very popularly known as SIP. Before we look at the calculation of rate of return, let us briefly try to understand what systematic investment plan is. A systematic investment plan or SIP is a popular method of investment in mutual funds. What happens in an SIP is a fixed amount is invested in the mutual fund scheme at regular intervals. Now, SIP is considered to be an investment method which creates a discipline of investment in the investor, and it is also a method which helps in accumulating investments over a period of time by investing small amounts at regular intervals. The frequency of investment can be daily, monthly, quarterly, etc. The monthly SIP is very common and popular among salaried class investors. And SIP is considered to be a beautiful investment for salaried class investors who do not have time and expertise for direct investment in equity markets. Now, what happens in an SIP is on the day of investment, the mutual fund would buy the number of units of mutual funds that would be purchased in the investor's name would depend on the net asset value or the NAV of that mutual fund scheme on the day of investment. If the NAV goes up, the number of units purchased will come down, and if the NAV comes down, the number of units purchased will go up. This is because the amount of investment remains the same. So one advantage of SIP is over a sufficiently long period of time, the SIP helps in averaging the cost of purchase or cost per unit of mutual fund that you are paying. Many of us find it difficult to compute the rate of return earned on an SIP because we only know the cash flows. Many people don't know how to calculate exactly the rate of return that I am earning on the SIP which I have started. In fact, a simple Excel function can help us in calculating the rate of return on an SIP. Let us go to an Excel sheet and see how we can calculate the rate of return on SIP. You can see the Excel sheet here. Let us take an example. I am assuming that I am investing 5,000 rupees every month in a mutual fund scheme through an SIP. So the frequency of investment is monthly and the amount of investment is 5,000. I started this investment on 15th of January 2019. On 15th of January, I made an investment of 5,000 rupees. So I show it as minus 5,000 because it is a cash outflow for me. The NAV on that day was 25.35. Therefore, I was allotted 197.2387 units of the mutual fund scheme. Like this, every month from January onwards, I have been investing 5,000 rupees. And by now, by October, I have made so many investments. So my investments have always been 5,000 rupees. The NAV kept on fluctuating, and depending on the NAV fluctuations, based on the NAV on the date of my investment, the number of units also kept changing. So you can see that when the NAV came down from 25.35 to 24.80, I was able to buy more number of units. A further decline in NAV I bought more number of units, and when the NAV went up, the number of units purchased by me came down. These details, the NAV, number of units allotted, etc., will be made available to you by the stockbroker through whom you are doing this SIP. They will be giving you a transaction statement which clearly indicates the date of purchase, the NAV at which it was purchased, and the number of units purchased. Now assume that you have made this investment till October. Now you want to know what is the rate of return as on 10th November 2019. So if I want to know the rate of return on 10th November 2019, I must first get the total number of units that I am holding as on 10th November 2019. This will be nothing but the total of all these number of units that I am holding. So it comes to 1912.545647. Even if we don't have a database like this, we can always check with the holding statement as on 10th November 2019, and the holding statement will tell us the number of units held as on that day. The second thing that I want for the purpose of calculation of rate of return is the NAV as on 10th November 2019. This can also be found from the website of the mutual fund in which you are investing. Let me assume that the NAV on 10th November 2019 is 29.85. Therefore, I would now calculate the market value of investment as on 10th November, which will be nothing but the product of number of units and the NAV. That comes to, the amount comes to 57,090.06. Now I want to calculate my rate of return. In order to calculate the rate of return, the Excel function that we can use is called XIRR, and the syntax of this function is equal to XIRR values, dates, and a guess. So for the purpose of calculation of this, we need to keep the dates ready, we need to keep the values ready. Even if these two are not available with us, it doesn't matter. All that we need is the date and the values. So I am trying to calculate rate of return on 10th November. So I will put that date here, 10/11/2019. And my value of investment on that day, I will fill here, which is 57,090.06. So I have the dates of investments, the amount of investment is same, the date on which I want to calculate my rate of return, and my market value of investment as on that day. In real life, all these dates may not be 15th. Sometimes 15th of a month may be a holiday. So the actual investment may happen on 16th. If 16th also happens to be a holiday, the investment will happen on 17th. So you can put the actual dates here. Now, in order to calculate my rate of return, I want to calculate my rate of return. I am going to use the formula XIRR. There are two ways of using the formula. Either I can go and straight away type the syntax is equal to XIRR bracket open, and I can give the values. So I should select this value field and then comma. I should give the date field. This is my date field, and I can leave the guess empty. I don't have to give a guess there. I can just leave it empty and press enter. This is my rate of return. I can convert it into a percentage. So from this investment, I have got an annualized rate of return of 33.85%. This is automatically annualized by Excel. Another way of doing this is I can go to formulas, I can go to insert. In insert, I can look at the financial functions. Under financial functions, I will find XIRR here. Towards the end, I can find XIRR. Yeah, I have XIRR here. I say OK. Then a pop-up box will come. It will ask me for values. I can select the values, including the final market value. I should select. It will ask me for dates. I should select the date range, and then guess I can leave it because guess is optional. I can just click OK. I have got the answer now. 33.85%. So this is as simple as this. If you want to calculate NAV of your SIP anytime, all that you need is you need to just put the dates. Be careful that you're putting the dates in the right format, and then you need the amount. Also, one thing that you need to be careful is the investment should be shown as a minus cash flow and the market value should be shown as a plus cash flow. So this way you can calculate the rate of return on your SIP. Of course, one assumption or one thing that I have not done here is I have not included tax. The moment tax comes, your rate of return has to be adjusted accordingly. So this is how we calculate the rate of return on our SIP. So that brings us to the end of the session on calculation of rate of return on SIP. Thank you all.